Hello everybody. So this is your lab video for the lymphatic system. You will probably be asked maybe one station's worth of questions about the lymphatic system on your midterm. However, there is only one model in the classroom that shows any part of the lymphatic system. So the majority of any lymphatic system you guys see will be images that you will be asked to label, such as images out of your lab manual and that sort of thing. With that being said, I've made a little PowerPoint for you guys of pictures, and I'm going to point some things out to you in this video. Okay. So there are 3 paragraphs worth of nodes, yes, but terms you need to know for the lymphatic system. One of them is the close-up of your lymph nodes and like their inner workings. One of them is just where to label these things where they are in the body. And then a third one is of organs and other helpful tissues that help the lymphatic system that are like secondary lymphatic parts, but not primary ones. So this shouldn't be too bad. You guys actually know most of this stuff already. It's probably mostly the internal lymph nodes and maybe what the groups of lymph nodes are called that are going to be new terms, but most of this, probably about half of this page in your lab list, you guys already know. So never fear, just sit tight. So the first set of things we need to know is we need to know the lymphatic vessels and the lymph nodes. So that paragraph on y'all's lab list are the 3 main ducts, D-U-C-T, the 3 main ductworks that feed into that are the biggest parts of your lymphatic system, and what your groups of lymph nodes are called. So this is a larger picture, or zoomed in picture, of your lymphatic system. So your lymphatic system is we know we have arteries and veins for your blood, but you also have the lymphatic system as a secondary system to handle excess liquids, such as intercellular fluids and that kind of thing, in your body. And the goal of your lymphatic system is to be sort of the gutter system, where all of this excess interstitial fluid and that sort of thing accumulates and then is filtered by these little things called lymph nodes, where a lot of your white blood cells live, and this is where most of your immune system either starts or lives, to start filtering things and making sure your body is A-okay and you don't get sick. That's the purpose of the lymphatic system. So the major things you need to know about your lymphatic system, right? You have 2 major ductworks that feed in to your superior vena cava and end up dumping this excess fluid in your body back into your veins and arteries so it can be circulated in your blood to where it needs to go, and then it will seep out of your blood vessels to where it needs to go, and the cycle will start again. Right? The 2 major ducts that you need to know, you have the right lymphatic duct that handles everything from your head and your right arm to dump back into your veins here. And then the thoracic duct, which is the other large one that is on the left side that just dumps back into your veins. The weird thing about this drainage system in your body that you should know, the right lymphatic duct only collects the lymph from the right arm, so the right side of your torso and arm, and your head, and that's it. So basically it's your head, and if you're waving your right arm and shoulder region. That is where your body is collecting lymph from your right lymphatic duct. Everything else in your body, all the other lymph nodes and everything else in your body, through various tubes in the lymphatic system, ends up winding back through the thoracic duct. So the thoracic duct handles the bottom half of your body and your left arm. The right lymphatic duct handles your head and your right arm. That said, you also have another duct that is further down your body. It will eventually connect to your thoracic duct, but you have this ductwork here, which is this conglomerate and large vessel that you can see in the middle of this lady, called the cisterna chili, or for some other people that pronounce it differently, the cisterna chyli. I prefer chili, but there you go. The major point of that large lymph vessel is it is the prominent collection point that is collecting the lymph from your digestive system. Remember, our immune system protects us from everything that is outside your body, and your digestive system happens to be the one location in your body where you are intentionally putting things from outside your body into your body so that you can break it down for food and nutrients, but your body also has to make sure it's not going to make you sick and poison you. So you have a number of lymphatic vessels around your digestive system, and that help out with that. And all of these lymphatic vessels that are around your digestive system, your intestines, your stomach, all that kind of good stuff, end up all dumping right here into the cisterna chili. Other than that, most things filter through lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are like the little jelly bean-shaped things, where white blood cells in your immune system sort of live as apartment complexes or dormitories to do their jobs. And you have clusters of them throughout your body. The different clusters of them have different names. Whenever you've gone to the doctor and you've had a sore throat, or you take your children to the doctor and he's feeling for swollen nodes or swollen glands in the neck, the doctor is feeling for swollen cervical lymph nodes. Because your cervical lymph nodes are the lymph nodes right here in your throat and your neck. The reason why he's looking for swollen cervical lymph nodes is because if you have an infection, say strep throat, when your body is filtering that bacteria away from the tonsils, these are the lymph nodes where that bacteria is going to be filtered into, so they are going to be the ones that swell up and respond to a potential infection. So these are the cervical lymph nodes here in the throat. You have another group of lymph nodes called the axillary lymph nodes, and if you remember from A&P1, axillary region of your body is your armpit. So your axillary lymph nodes are right here in your armpit region, and they do travel toward breast tissue and overlap a little bit with the breast tissue. This right here, while that is a good location and place for lymph nodes to exist, because, we do a lot of stuff with our hands. We're going to get cuts and scrapes. We want to protect ourselves from infection, all that kind of good stuff. And while this is a decent location for your lymph nodes and that sort of stuff logically, the fact that these axillary lymph nodes are so very close to breast tissue is the exact reason why breast cancer can be so deadly. Because should a patient end up with breast cancer, and if we remember correctly, cancer is your body gone wrong, or your own body cells replicating, and failing to check themselves to grow at an appropriate rate or place, and then that starts to spread throughout your body. Because that is your own body and your own cells basically going rogue and doing the wrong thing, that is difficult for your immune system to pick up on. Because remember, your immune system protects you from everything that is not you. It usually tries to ignore cells that are you. And because these axillary lymph nodes here are so close to breast tissue, should a patient, man or woman, because men can also get breast cancer, gentlemen, should a patient end up with breast cancer, the cancer can spread from the tissue here into these lymph nodes and then use the lymphatic system as a highway around the rest of the body, which is why breast cancer can be so deadly and spread so quickly, or metastasize quickly. Metastasized cancers are cancers that have spread to other locations in the body, which is why it can be such a severe type of cancer to have. That being said, you have a third group of lymph nodes. They are the ones that are right here at the base of your legs toward your crotch area. These are called your inguinal lymph nodes. So these are your inguinal nodes. And these ones are the only ones that you can find on any of the models in our lab, because on any of the models in our lab, you have some of these inguinal lymph nodes that are right here on the model. There's just a couple of them dotted around. But these are also going to handle infections and whatnot from this region. You also do, on your lab list, have another type of lymph node listed called a lumbar lymph node. Those lymph nodes are the clusters of lymph nodes that are located around here between your lower back intestine area and your pelvis kind of region. However, I have never actually seen those lymph nodes on any picture or any model. So if you needed to conveniently not stress about studying a single thing on your lab list, that would be a convenient one to forget about. So you have other things in the body that will help your lymphatic system and immune system as well. So they are like secondary things to your lymphatic system. You have 3 types of tonsils, and then the thymus, spleen, appendix, and these things called Pyres patches. Right? So first we're going to talk about your type of tonsils. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you do have 3 different sets of tonsils inside you. So you have a set of tonsils that are sitting here at the base of your tongue called the lingual tonsils. Lingual means tongue. So the lingual tonsils are right here at the base of the tongue. The palatine tonsils are the tonsils you see when you open your mouth up big and wide and you can see them coming like from the sides of your mouth at the back of your throat. Those are the palatine tonsils that you are looking at. So when you think about tonsils being removed, they are removing your palatine tonsils. And then the other set of tonsils are called your pharyngeal tonsils, which are also in layman's terms called your adenoids. And these tonsils are back here at like the top of your pharynx, which is this tube right here. And they are like at the border between what will be the nasal cavity over here and what is your pharynx. So they are higher up. They're about even with your nasal cavity, as you can see. So they are just above your throat, so you don't see them when you open your mouth, but they can still greatly affect this area of your body. So usually when your child keeps getting strep throat and they can't get better and all that kind of stuff, the doctors recommend removing your adenoids or your pharyngeal tonsils and your palatine tonsils. So these are the 2 sets of tonsils you get removed when you have your tonsils out. They normally leave your lingual tonsils alone. But these are the 3 sets of tonsils that you have inside you. Right? This is the book, or this is the image from y'all's lab manual, and it shows you how your lymphatic system works out here, but with the other organs in your body. So your thymus is right here behind your sternum, and it's right above your heart. So your thymus is right here. It has a couple of different lobes. Your thymus is intricate to your immune system, and it's where T cells grow up and go through boot camp and learn. The spleen is right here. The spleen is tucked up right up against your stomach, and your stomach is normally curled up right here. So this is your spleen over here on the right side of the body, which helps you filter your blood. If you remember from our blood unit in lecture, your spleen filters dead red blood cells and helps you recycle the parts from them and whatnot. Your appendix. We haven't gotten to your digestive system yet, but your large intestine on one end, right over here on the left side, has a little bitty tail that comes down off of it. That is important for other animal species, not so much for us. And your appendix right here just sort of serves to help the lymphatic system, and it is also a place where good bacteria for your gut can chill and be protected, and then repopulate your gut after an illness. But your appendix is deemed part of what helps your lymphatic system, although you can live without it. And then the final piece, you won't see directly on this model. Like I said, your lymphatic system is very in tune with your digestive system because the nourishment and everything else your digestive system absorbs for you has to be double checked for illnesses and bacteria and that sort of thing before your body can just let it loose in yourself. It does that with two things: the blood that, or nourishment that is absorbed directly into the blood ends up being sent to your liver because your liver filters your blood for your poison control center. And then you have all of these lymphatic vessels and patches that are strategically placed around your intestines that end up collecting the other stuff that comes through in things like water and interstitial fluid. And that ends up dumping directly here into your cistern or chili. These patches that are located around your small intestines of lymphatic activity are actually called Pyres Patches. So those Pyres Patches are part of your digestive system. You guys will see those again when we talk about your intestines and the digestive system. But they are the part of the lymphatic system that helps your intestines absorb good stuff. And now we have to talk about the part that is probably the newest to you, the structure of the lymph nodes, right? So just like most things, when we talk about kidneys, we've talked about this with other things. There's some words here that you already know. The capsule is going to be the outer covering that protects everything. You guys know what a capsule is, right? You guys already know what a cortex and medulla is. The cortex is the meaty bit along the outside of your body part. The medulla are the inside squishy or stringy pockets within the organ, right? You guys already know that. And because of that, you guys already know some of the key stuff about your lymph nodes. So lymph nodes here, they have a capsule. They have this outer protective covering. That's awesome. Everywhere you see on this picture that's green and purple, that is green. Congratulations, that's cortex. That is that inner meaty bit, right? And you also have other pictures over here. Once again, you have a capsule collecting everything. You have the cortex, that is the inner meaty bit. There is a little bit of space, though, between the protective capsule and where the cortex starts, right? So you have a little bit of space there that is protective. That space that is between the capsule and the cortex is under the capsule, so it is subcapsule, right? Which is your subcapsular space. So the subcapsular space is the space between the capsule and your cortex here, right? Oop. The medulla would be all of the purple parts in this green and purple image that you see here, right? So the medulla is the inner squishy parts. You guys already know that. You know what a medulla is. There are cords or stringy parts inside the medullas. They are called medullary cords. So if you're looking at these things and you see something that is of a cord or sort of stringy texture, that's what that is. Right? The sinus, if I were to take a spoon and scoop out all the important bits of this medulla here, and I just took out that medulla and scooped it out, the space where the medulla had been would be the medullary sinus. Right? Trabeculae. The trabeculae are the parts here. They're like the parts of the cortex that extended down between the medullas, like between these germinal centers, between that. Right? So these tougher fibrous bits that extend down like these walls of cortex are called trabeculae. Right? Germinal centers are regions here that are in the middle. of these focused little medullas or areas, right? So these germinal centers are dots that are in the middle of these little medulla areas. That is where all of your white blood cells, like the B cells and the T cells, hang out and wait for lymph or the liquid to flow through so they can filter it. So that is like their little dormitories. This is where they live. Those germinal centers are where most of these white blood cells hang out and wait around, right? And the germinal centers are surrounded by something called a lymphatic follicle, right? So the lymphatic follicle surrounds the germinal center as like a protection for the germinal center, right? That being said, now that we've gone through the inner bits of it, we need to know a couple of the outer bits, which are the efferent lymphatic vessels, afferent lymphatic vessels, and yes, there is a difference between the E and the A there. That is important. And then the hilum. We already know what a hilum is. When we went over other parts, I've told you that the hilum is where all of the tubes go in and out of a body part. So right here, where you have the efferent vessel leaving, the hilum would be right here on this lymph node. On this one that is more jelly bean shaped, this region right here, you see hilus, that is the plural of hilum, right? So this would be considered the hilum of this lymph node, and all the fluid is going out right there. That brings us to the difference between efferent vessels and afferent vessels. Afferent vessels are going to bring liquid to your lymph nodes, and you're always going to have a ton of afferent vessels. There's always going to be a number of them, because remember, the goal of these lymph nodes is to collect as much of this liquid to filter as possible. So you're going to get a number of these afferent vessels leading to every lymph node, so that all of this interstitial fluid that they have collected, like the gutter system in your body, can flow to this water treatment facility and be purified. Inside your lymph node, you have a ton of white blood cells living that are very ready, willing, and waiting to look at any bacteria that got in and start an immune response should you be sick, if there's suddenly an influx of strep throat bacteria or something along those lines. All of those white blood cells are waiting in the germinal centers, just chilling, waiting for bacteria and other stuff to sweep in from these afferent vessels. But there is always going to be more afferent vessels than the exit or efferent vessels, because your body wants to bottleneck the lymph liquid and fluid in these lymph nodes to give more time for the white blood cells in your germinal centers to filter and eat the bad stuff. So you only have one, maybe two, depending on the size of the lymph node, larger efferent lymphatic vessels, which is the exit for the liquid. So E is exit, efferent lymphatic vessels is exiting lymphatic vessel, just moving out. So you have afferent coming in, efferent coming out. The hilum is normally at the base of the efferent vessel. And there you have your lymph nodes. That's everything y'all have to know about your lymphatic system. Let me know if you guys have any questions.